Today's guest is a Reiki Master, a licensed massage therapist who's been practicing for over 6 years. She incorporates her energy work, body work, and massage therapy, all a part of her healing, facilitated environment of what she truly labels as restore. She wants to help bring that frequency and energy to her space, and I'm very excited for her to sit down and share with us more of how she views how we're going to redefine pain and relief. Please welcome Ann Marie Scofield. Another female, another entrepreneur. I'm grateful that you're here today, sitting with us and choosing to participate.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me. I am so grateful and honored to be here today, and I'm really excited to talk with you about what we're both doing and and how we've gotten to where we are today.
Totally, and that's a beautiful thing. It's like being able to relate to one another, because I think, where we're at as humans, this is really big, especially Ann Marie as well has had, certain substance abuse addictions as well. And, for Fusion Wellness, that's really big to promote the light and dark aspects of self and turning them into love. So today's chat is going to be definitely about, where Ann Marie started, and also what, inspired you, Ann Marie, to get into massage therapy.
Yeah. So I was an alcoholic from the age of 14 to 24. And my parents had an intervention for me, and I went into a 12-step program, and I got sober, and I didn't stay sober that first time, but through a series of events I made it back, and I have been sober for 8 years now. Wow.
Congratulations too.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
We honor your journey. It's beautiful to see the transformation.
Yeah. And so I went to college. I have a degree in marketing, and I worked in sales for a couple years after I graduated college, and that was in the height of my addiction. And so I was always super successful because I was able to show up, and I was able to kind of manage through my addiction what I was doing with my career. But once I got sober, for me, it was really hard to still stay in sales and to be in that environment. So I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next with my life. And I had been learning about Reiki, which is energy work, as you mentioned. And it's basically comes from Japan. It came over to Hawaii in the early 1900s and has spread onto the mainland now. And basically, it is centered on the belief that all the chakras in our body are where the energy flows, and that those chakras get blocked by trauma, past experiences, stress, and things that maybe we do that aren't so healthy for us. And so Reiki is the natural healing energy that helps to unblock those chakras and helps the energy to flow more freely through our bodies. So I learned about Reiki, and I got certified. There are multiple certifications you go through. So around my first certification, I was doing a meditation, doing Reiki on myself, trying to figure out what was going to be next for me. And it came to me that I needed to become a massage therapist. So I went and told my parents that I was going to be a massage therapist. Thanks for sending me to college. I'm going to go back to school again for something completely unrelated and become a massage therapist.
Well, that conversation too, just to kind of open their eyes though to what really interested you. What was your calling?
Right. And so I started going back to school, and I went to school for a year, and I worked while I went to school, and I continued with my Reiki certifications. So I'm considered a Reiki Master, which is the highest level of certification that you can get. And what that means basically is that not only can I do Reiki on myself, I can do Reiki on others, I can do distance Reiki, and I can teach people how to do Reiki and certify them in the different levels of Reiki. And so I graduated from massage school, and I'm going to be a massage therapist.
Yeah.
And that journey, it's always so different in your mind than it is in reality. So in my mind, I'm going to help people, and I'm going to do all this good and help people feel good. And it's super interesting because I don't know if it's kind of a healer's mindset or the way and I don't like to consider myself a healer. I really consider myself as just someone who likes to help people and likes to help people feel well.
Yes.
But there's this sometimes mindset from society that because we help people, we shouldn't get paid for it or get compensated the way other people are, because what we do is really serving others. So in reality, the pay doesn't always match the amount of work and effort and energy that goes into it. And so I worked for a number of years for other people doing massage. And it's been an amazing experience learning from them, learning the business side of massage, learning different techniques, being able to see a variety of different clients. And kind of most recently, going through coronavirus and COVID, I had an opportunity, because I wasn't able to work, to step back and think, what's really my purpose? What's really what I want to do? And I came to the realization that my purpose is to help people. And my purpose is to help people feel well. And the clientele that I can serve the most and enjoy working with the most are people in pain and people with chronic pain issues and pain issues. As you said, you know, the opioid epidemic is huge right now. And there are so many people who go to the doctor and they get put on some kind of opioid or a benzodiazepine or something that they may or may not become addicted to. And as a woman in recovery, it's really important, I think, for there to be other options.
Yes.
And so for me, I love being able to be an option for people. I've had clients who are in serious pain who, after seeing me for a couple months, are able to not have pain anymore. And that's not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but there are other options available. And coming out of COVID, I decided that I really wanted to start my own business. And so I've started my own business for Store Massage.
Yes.
And it has really taken off in the past couple months. And it's been amazing to help those pain clients and also to be compensated for the value that I bring to them. And I think that that stigma around people who serve and their value and their worth is a really important conversation that's not really happening.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, this is to even bring it up as far as, especially in the more holistic healing realm, we do. Sometimes there is a tendency, and especially in the, what would be labeled as spiritual community, which honestly, though, as a viewer, it isn't very spiritual to not get compensated. And I say that bluntly just because you deserve abundance, right? That's our true natural birthright. But as you said, there's our self-worth that can get in the way, and allowing and then moving through what belief systems do we carry within ourselves that isn't really allowing to let that abundance in and receive, right? Because as you said, there's so much output, that goes into a session. It's like, when clients show up, but there's so much inner preparation that goes on to also facilitate, right? And also taking care of yourself energetically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally. It's not just when a client sits down, you're just doing the physical body work, but you're also too, mentally getting into the right space and making sure that, you're in the right energetic state within yourself to facilitate.
Right.
And it's almost feeling like, as you said, being in this state where, sometimes we have a tendency as well to kind of not allow even what clients want for us. You know, I could, like, just in general, it's like there's a side of it that, you know, because you're giving so much to them as far as, you know, what they're allowing into their experience as well, that there should be that exchange, right? And should is a interesting word, but just allowing that exchange to happen.
Right.
You know?
And money is just an exchange of energy.
Yes.
And that's something I've recently learned, right? I think that we're always evolving as far as how we view ourselves and how we view, you know, our self-worth, as you mentioned. It's constantly changing.
It is, and it's like based off of you know, what you're going through at the time. There is a side of that as well. It's like, as you said, how you perceive yourself.
Right.
And depending on, especially like you were saying, to take a step back during COVID, that's big, just because there's a lot of people right now who are experiencing, you know, maybe lower self-worth just because they are out of work. They are out of, you know, touch with certain things that now they're getting back in touch with. And that just comes with self-forgiveness, you know, that comes with self-compassion, not getting too hard on yourself, right? That's those aspects of this that, you know, we're all going through our own healing during this time.
Right. And for sure, COVID was incredibly difficult for me. And while so much good personally came out of it for me, I will say that there were moments of deep, deep depression.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I just appreciate you even sharing that, you know.
Yeah.
I think to be standing in your truth.
Yeah.
You know?
Because I think that there was, or still is, because it's still going on, there's a pressure to do a lot with the time that you have, right? Because you have this time that you're never going to get back. There's also this pressure to be present with yourself because you don't get this time to be present with yourself. There's this pressure to, also societal pressure of, well, don't do too much, this is your time to relax. So how do you pick what you do? Because you feel wrong if you don't pick the right avenue. That's how I felt anyway. And so there was definitely battles of self-worth because being 33 years old, living with your mom on unemployment is not the best ego boost. So it was definitely challenging. And for me, the way that I got through it is I had to get a therapist. I had to start doing teletherapy. I started this woman I've never met. I don't know anything about her. I've never even seen her. Okay. And I'm on the phone with her twice a week, once a week, as much as I needed to talk to someone to help me through it. I do, outside of my addiction, have other issues that I seek a psychiatrist for, and I had to continue with that and have some med changes, and so it was just not a clean road, and I, you know, as far as like a straight path, and I don't think it has been for anyone.
No, and what you just shared, Ann Marie, is so powerful for so many individuals, and I really hope, you know, for the viewers that they have an open heart, you know, when receiving this, because it is what so many of us are experiencing, no matter how much, you know, personal development you've done. And as, like you shared, you know, you've overcame some larger, you know, addictions, right? And sometimes, as I know from, you know, being also a previous addict, it's like there's a side of it that, you know, we have a tendency then sometimes too to get hard on ourselves, like, gosh, you know, like I've done all this work, like why, you know, kind of.
Why am I not further?
Yeah. And, you know, it's sometimes we can allow it, you know, to hinder our growth a bit. And I know, and I'm speaking from personal experience, so when you're sharing about the deep, dark depression and feeling that low self-worth of, you know, not making the, you know, maybe the financial, you know, abundance too that you would normally, or just even want to make, and then having the outside societal pressure of, yeah, you know, what are you going to do? Now this is the time to reinvent, you know, this is the time. And it's like, whoa, you know, feeling that energy too, of just like, well, yeah, what am I going to do? So it has been, you know, kind of a forced situation for us to really, you know, go inward and see. And I'm very proud of you, though, for taking those steps to, you know, reach out to someone outside, you know, a third party that can help you just, you know, navigate this and hopefully guide you, more into yourself and your practices and help ease some of that, tension. Because personally, yeah, I've had to as well, be with my friends right now as far as, breath work and keep up tabs when, internally I felt like, oh, I'm pretty self-sufficient and self-reliant, and, that's a big part of my self-worth too, it's like, but I had to learn for myself that it's okay to have that outside help right now, and allowing yourself to receive that.
Yeah.
And that was been big for me too, because I do understand the depression in that way. Personally, I kind of posted on social media if the viewers can see, but I was going through my own, with business and insecurities during this time, and things of the universe that I really needed to allow myself to confront healthily and without judgment. So I'm really grateful for you sharing openly, to the viewers of what you've gone through and giving yourself that, self-compassion, rather than, judging and maybe possibly further perpetuating, some of that, emotion for yourself and that kind of, inner conflict a bit.
Yeah, and I think that as an addict in recovery, we faced almost another level of what was going on with COVID, because in my opinion, you have a choice to pick up or not. And so that's another added layer. And I know nationally the rate of alcohol consumption has gone up considerably because of COVID. And so when you see people around you drinking and that's become the norm and the way of coping, and knowing that that's no longer an option for you, finding and figuring out other coping mechanisms becomes really, really important. And sometimes that adds another layer of stress of how am I going to cope with this, knowing that what society tells me is an okay coping mechanism is no longer a coping mechanism for me. And so it's really relying on those tools and those resources. And I'm so, so, so grateful that I've been sober for as long as I have going into this, because I don't believe that I would have stayed sober if I had not had the time and the resources and the tools that I had this time.
Well, and I feel like that's so powerful as well, Ann Marie, to really put the emphasis on the tools, right? Because we all need to have a program for ourselves, regardless if you're a recovering addict or not, substance abuse addict. We all need those tools to help ground ourselves in our bodies and clear our mind and, restore balance, homeostasis within ourselves, because we all experience, as you said, so many external stressors, which we as humans, we feel like we can handle it all and do it, and it's like, but it's affecting everyone, right? It is affecting everyone, regardless if we're allowing ourselves to really bring that into our conscious awareness and acknowledge it. It's still happening. And I feel like that's big, as from being in recovery, is to acknowledge, what you're going through and being honest about it, rather than trying to suppress it or trying to avoid, or, just attempting to numb it out with disassociation.
Right.
And we all have that tendency, though, as humans, to want to, numb out our pain, right? And of course, if there's something that's beside us, as you said, an alcoholic drink that, your mind, it's like, well, I could allow myself right now to kind of not really want to be in my soul and just confront myself healthily. Like, I could just choose to numb out for a little bit, and there's certain leveling degrees of that. But I feel as a society, as you're speaking about, and before when you were talking about, obviously, the current opioid epidemic, which is a big part of our message as well, the big thing that I've noticed in my own personal life and what I hear from others is, if there is something outside of us that's giving us the okay to, numb out, something that naturally is supposed to be felt, and it's given a, it's fun and it's okay, and it's just a permission slip, a societal permission slip. Yeah, it further perpetuates the problem of, not giving it the weight that it, it deserves, in the way that it isn't a healthy means of connecting to yourself. It's only going to further perpetuate, self-judgment or self-sabotage, or it's not a solution.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the solutions and finding finding what works for you is so important. And it's different for everyone.
Well, yeah, and what works for you as far as what kind of tools do you use daily?
So it really depends on what's happening. I would say that my toolbox is quite full. So it's staying in touch with friends, talking to other people who have had a similar experience to me or who can understand how I'm feeling and what I'm going through. It's, for me, continuing to do 12-step meetings has been important, continuing to work with my therapist, continuing to see my psychiatrist and stay on the medications that I need right now. Meditation, and it's interesting because I don't do the, sit down and light a candle and do a meditation. For me, I drive with no music on, and I just be with my thoughts and myself. And I know that that's not like the constructed view of meditation, but it's the quiet time for me to sit and process. And for me, that's my view of meditation, is a time to sit and process. And so I found that that's super helpful. And continuing to just know that this isn't the end, right? Like sometimes it feels like, how am I going to get through this? Or, what am I going to do? But knowing that I will get through it. Every hard thing I've been through, I've gotten through. So I'm going to continue to get through it.
Yes. Everyone needs to hear that right now, too.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
Yes.
We always have, and we always will.
Yes. And it's, this time where, as you spoke about, everything is temporary. Everything. Happiness, joy, sadness, anger, everything is temporary. But when we learn to just kind of adapt, as you're talking about, and have those tools. And so you are very, it feels like a firm believer of the mind-body connection.
Absolutely.
So what intrigues you about it? What fascinates you?
So it's super interesting to me because our body physically holds on to things that we've experienced in our life, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's trauma, whether it's just a bad experience or a memory. And our body holds on to that, and sometimes that physically manifests. And it can physically manifest in a bunch of different ways. And the easiest way for me to kind of give an analogy is during COVID, I was super stressed out, anxious, feeling a little depressed. I started to break out in acne on my neck, right? And not around my face from wearing a mask or anything like that, but that stress and anxiety physically manifested as acne. Now our body's so that's a physical manifestation of stress. And so other examples can be tight muscles. Some people get digestion issues. Some people get, God forbid, cancer. And some people say that's environmental. Some people say that that's, from the mind-body connection. And I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not going to pretend to know. But I believe that there is a very strong connection between having a strong, positive mindset and having a strong, healthy body. And I also believe that if you're doing work, whether it's overcoming an addiction, whether it's going through therapy, whether it's, whatever it is that you're doing that you might be working on processing mentally, it's really important that you also process that physically. And what I mean by that is exercising, working out, moving your body, dancing, and getting body work done, massage and body work, because you need to physically release that energy. And I know it might sound a little woo-woo or but that's my belief on it, is that your mind does store things in your body. And I've had clients where I'm working on them and they just start crying for no reason. They have an emotional release. That's emotion stored in your body.
I personally, that's usually what happens when I do massage therapy. And as you spoke about, it's like it's such a sacred practice when you are overcoming, you're getting out of addictions to get the body work done. That was really big a part of my own, in going to a practitioner, and it was like every time, the release and going in a journey within myself. And as you spoke about, I mean, it is, I personally released through tears. So, to validate what also your clients, I've personally gone through it.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So just to further validate already what you see, too. It's like, I feel massage therapy is such a, and as you said, to label yourself as a healer, we all heal ourselves in that way.
Right.
But as an energy facilitator, it's like, I do believe massage therapy is such a powerful tool. And some massage therapists, they may not even fully recognize, what they're doing is so powerful.
Right. And I didn't when I first started. I didn't. I wasn't in a place where I could even wrap my head around that. And I think that that's just been a journey as far as being a practitioner and learning that and just working with different people and seeing that, and through my own experience and just continuing to learn, I've gotten to that place where I believe that and I can recognize that. And most massage therapists, it's kind of like in our professional associations, they say that the length of a career for a massage therapist is typically 3 years. So I've fortunately been a massage therapist now for 6 years, so I've had that opportunity to learn and grow. And I think that what's unfortunate is there is such a high rate of burnout in the industry that if a therapist doesn't get the opportunity to learn and grow and see this and have the experiences of working with people to see them transform and change, whether it's through pain, whether it's through processing emotional and physical things, they don't even know what they're capable of.
Well, and as you were saying earlier, as far as being a Reiki Master, you're able to help teach, on that level. And I feel like sharing this information, obviously, for the viewers who are, massage therapists, who are, people who are about to go into massage therapy, it gives them more insight and clarity from your journey, which really can help, to let them know. And from your experience, where you went through it too. You went through where you didn't know how powerful of a tool this is. And when you're working with the physical body, you're really, and you're using your energy, and you're using, as you spoke about, and to use your hands, as well. Not just, but you're doing the body work as well.
Very personal.
Yeah. And people are, naked, and that's, they're vulnerable. And that's big too. And I've seen from your website where it's just as if, to the vulnerability with, having someone when you are naked to get comfortable. I think it was your Facebook, or it was a post that, the vulnerability aspect of what comes with it. And so what do you see? You were talking about the transformations with your clients, but what do you feel, in those rooms? Like, what kind of energy exchange, not only, financially, as we've spoken about before, but just in a healing way when you walk into that room? What is usually the energy that for yourself and to project out, to that human?
So for me, it's super important, not just for me, but for the client as well, to build a relationship before that session happens. So, and unfortunately, it's not usually a ton of time. It might be 5 minutes, it might be 10 minutes, that we get an opportunity to talk before the session. And I get an opportunity to learn more about what's bringing them in, what their issues are, because it helps to just build what I call, rapport, build a relationship. Because as you mentioned, they are in a very vulnerable state, and I want them to know that they're safe, they're in a safe space. And there are a couple of different ways that I communicate that, kind of non-verbally, but
back to health, no matter what you're going through. I believe it's also to, like your, message and slogan of your business, redefining pain relief. What does that personally mean to you?
So to me, it means that I'm able to get my clients to a place where they don't need surgery and they don't need maybe medication. They're able to see massage as a different modality, as a different kind of pain relief, as a different way to get the pain relief that they're looking for. And so for me, I like to get my clients to a place where they're able to go 1 month without any significant pain issues.
And we love that, here, all you Fusion Wellness community, please check out Ann Marie, because just to allow yourself a space with someone, as a third party, as we were speaking about before, especially right now when, we could all just use a little bit of love, in allowing that in, and just giving your body love, right? Because our bodies do crave release, I believe, and really want that. We
crave
it.
human touch as humans. We crave touch.
Well, and to hear that too, because I know as we're babies and just nurture, and it does. I mean, I feel like, and to be able to, with your Ann Marie, to touch as far as with the Reiki, if they ask for it, of course, as you spoke about. I love that too, not crossing boundaries. If someone isn't interested in that,
right,
then she's more than willing, you're more than willing to just, of course, accept them for where they're at, and they don't want that, there's no problem with it. But for the people that truly maybe are interested, just to see what it can do for them, and what ignite for them, because what you went through, it feels like, on your own personal path, to even accept Reiki into your life, and what it did for you, and now being able to, bring that forward for others.
Right.
It can be a powerful tool.
Absolutely.
So allowing yourself that space, and giving yourself that, permission slip. But I wanted to as well, Ann Marie, just thank you for today.
Thank you.
And please follow, Ann Marie on her Instagram, which was a previous plug. We can do it once again too, so you guys, just so that you know.
Restore.massage.
Perfect. And her website is?
restoremassageoc.com.
Perfect. And then her information there, as far as her phone number, how to book, it's all there. So we just thank you for tuning in today, and I thank you, Ann Marie.
Thank you so much, Chanel.
Thank you for being here. Yes.
It's an honor.
Thank you. Thank you. So please keep staying tuned for our next guest, but as well, just keep healing. It's worth it. And no matter what the challenges may come, we will always prevail. Right? As a society, as individuals, as Ann Marie and I spoke about, everything is temporary in life.
Yes.
Yes. So you will get through this, whatever you're currently going through.